If you want more content from We Studios, check us out at our website, weepodcast.com. That's weepodcast.com. You can find our Twitter, our Reddit, everything over there. Our Simpsons podcast, worst episode ever, our sync points, everything. Everything must go.
Everything we got. We're having a fire sale on WePodcast.com.
Get it while it's hot.
While you're there, if you feel like spending some money, just click our Amazon links or just go to amazon.wepodcast.com and shop like you normally would. We get a small cut, keeps the show free. This wonderful show that you're about to hear. 60 minutes are on the clock, and straight out of We Studios, this is 90s Percentile. My name is Dan.
My name is Jack, and we're talking everything 90s and maybe also everything before and after.
And we are joined again in studio with a lovely guest, a returning guest. Mr. Dirk Otis is here. How you doing, Dirk?
Hey, Dirk.
Hey, guys.
Now, normally, we don't have a guest return so quickly. You were on, what, a month ago?
Yeah, not that long ago.
But you are very close to leaving New York and going to Old Silvertown.
I know.
And we refused to do like a Skype recording with you, so we were like, let's just bank every episode with Dirk right now.
So this is 2 of 100 we've recorded this weekend. We're going to spread them out over the course of the next 7 years.
Dole them out, yeah.
Yeah, it's an epic journey of how many of these we're going to drop into the future. But
Absolutely.
no, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me so quickly before I journey off to the West Coast.
Of course.
And for those who don't remember, you are in a sketch group in Brooklyn, and the short show.
Yeah.
And where can we find those sketches?
Theshortshow.com. We can also check out our sketches. New one dropped this past week on our YouTube channel.
Very cool.
We've also been on Funny or Die. I've been on BuzzFeed. Been on all of those other aggregate websites that take everybody else's content and make people go to it.
It's very nice.
So are you now are you officially leaving Short Show? Are you on hiatus? Or are you on the West Coast team?
Yeah, we do have a West Coast team. We do have some folks that make some content out there. But I don't know. I'm going to get to LA first and then figure out how to not die there.
Yeah,
right.
Which is like how when I moved to New York.
Yeah.
It's very Oregon Trail of you.
Yeah. It's very,
Don't get diphtheria.
Yeah.
Don't ford the river.
Yeah, of course
Do not. It will go wrong.
Yeah, but I remember when I moved to New York, it was just like, well, what are you going to do when you get there? I was like, well, I'm going to just not die for like 18 months and just figure out how to live there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from
Good
there.
for you. That's admirable. I would probably, if I was moving out there, create like a 1,900-page itinerary, and I would dot everything out, and then I would get there, and I would be miserable.
I'm going to meet James Cameron the first day.
I'm going to go up to Mr. Cameron, and I'm going to talk to him about this Avatar thing he's got going on.
I got a plan.
Look, I know you've already
4 sequels.
I know you already recorded 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yep.
But when you do Avatar 6, I want you to think Dirk Otis.
I want you to think of this guy right here. This sells tickets. And then he'll be like...
butts in seats.
Yeah, he'll be like, why am I in an improv theater? Why is James Cameron, clearly the most humorless man in Hollywood, at an improv theater? He'd sit there and be like, they're just making it up. They're just making it up as it goes.
So we're Short Show, West Coast. Can we get a suggestion? James Cameron.
James, God, son of a bitch. I hate that movie. Every
time.
I hate Avatar. What a terrible thing. But anyway, no, I'm gonna be still teaching improv, still doing improv, still doing all of that
very
fun
cool
stuff because making up stories is fun.
So if you're interested if you live in LA and you're interested in learning improv, look Dirk up as in a stalker-like fashion.
I will come and give you a private lesson in your living room as to how to say yes and to things.
Yes, there you go.
There's got to be a better way to word that.
Yep.
Gotta be a better way to word that.
But we'll never know what that is because we are going to move on to what our first topic is going to be. And Dirk, as our guest, the first time you were here, you did not choose a topic. You went right into the random topic generator, where listeners can submit 90s topics at weepodcast.com, weepodcast.com, which is now the official 90p website.
Yeah,
so we got rid of the old site.
We were going to come up with a permanent website for it, and then we decided, fuck it, let's just
put everything at one site. It's a lot easier.
Sure.
So we're doing that. So you can go there, submit your topics. My question to you, Dirk, is do you want to go into the random topic generator or...
I want to go. I'm going to cut you off.
Oh, man. You already have an answer? You
No,
don't need to
but.
The or was, do you want $10,000 right now?
No!
But now that offer's off the table.
Last up $10,000.
Would have really helped.
That's why you don't do no but.
I knew there was a reason. No butte. I knew there was a reason that I came back and I just passing up $10,000. No,
I've set it on fire, so it is gone.
Oh, right in front of me,
Sorry.
Joker style. No.
I'm like a dog chasing a car.
Yeah.
Another scene from the movie.
Yep.
Not okay. I'm not going to get into my views on that, but nothing to do with the 90s.
That's true.
Our topic is Dark Knight.
Dark Knight is Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, man. Well,
Just
that's...
fucking get into how much we love that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've listened to some of my colleagues and friends come in, and they always bring in a topic.
Sure.
And I think that's stupid.
Oh, okay.
Shots fired.
Throwing shade at all of our past guests.
All of my coworkers and colleagues and friends that have been on.
Okay.
I will. We'll just see where the universe takes us. Last time it worked out pretty great. I thought.
We had Blur. And so
and talked about Damon Albarn for 10 minutes.
For 10 minutes before talking about Cottonmouth Kings for 25.
So watch our topic is going to be Oasis, and
it's Cottonmouth Kings again. We're like,
we'll talk about Smash Mouth.
Actually, it's Damon Albarn is our topic. No, it's not. I do have our topic. I've
Motion
went into
blur. Very 90s thing.
Very 90s thing. I went into the random topic generator, and I do have our topic. It comes from Cat Stamps, longtime listener of both of our podcasts. And we have said in the past that we want to get some really specific topics because we've done like 90s comics, 90s Robin Williams movies. We've done really, really broad things.
Yeah. Sure.
Cat Stamp's coming at us with a very, very specific thing that I think we can talk a little bit
That
about.
time Dad said hello to me in the corridor on Tuesday the 5th.
That's exactly what it is.
That's just a personal memory.
I don't know how you do that, but I think we've said everything we can say about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
next topic.
If someone sent in one of your memories to the random topic generator, you realize how disturbing that would be?
I'm tempted to now enter in like a random memory between Jack and I and have that come up
when
randomly.
They probably found my live journal.
Yeah. we have hundreds of topics, so it might not come up for years and we forget about it. But no, our topic again from Cat Stamps, it is Cody from Step by Step.
Wow.
Day by day.
Oh my God. But Cody is fantastic.
Cody is fantastic.
TGIF is fantastic.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is the most... it's something I didn't realize I missed until you just pointed it out.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I remember I would sit and watch TGI Friday programming on...
Yeah.
What network was
ABC.
it?
ABC,
It was
8 o'clock.
ABC.
It's Friday night. And the mood is right.
It's so
Gonna have
right.
some fun. Show you how it's done.
TGIF.
I remember I would get ready to watch all 2 hours of that programming. And
Absolutely.
sit down and be like, I'm locked in for the
Totally.
next 2 hours.
And were you a Step by Step fan?
I was if we now this is a good we need to rank the TGIF.
You're right. We
television
do
shows.
need to do that really quick. I'm just going to explain the
clear
premise
number
for Step
one.
by Step
Yeah,
because people some youngs listen to this old show and they may not know what Step by Step is. Step by Step was essentially a modern or then modern Brady Bunch type of thing where two divorcees got married. They each had 3 kids and they were living as one big happy family. Cody specifically was Patrick Duffy played the father. Cody was his nephew who lived like
In a
In
van.
a
in their
van
parking lot.
Yeah, in their
I
driveway.
was going to say in a boathouse, but they weren't
They didn't
a
have
well-to-do family.
They were not. They were a blue-collar working-class family.
They're somewhere in between.
They were middle
Hey,
class.
we're going step by step.
Yeah.
He was the head of a construction company, so they make
Okay,
money.
so
they make money.
he was getting those kickbacks.
By the way, he was played by Sasha Mitchell.
Sasha Mitchell was the
Or is it
actor's name.
Sasha Mitchell. I don't know.
Could
I
be.
remember his hair was some 90s hair. Like it was
Yeah,
flowing
it did.
locks.
Yeah.
And the most memorable episode I can think of was a self-defense episode where he got to karate kick some sort of like domestic...
Some sort of
Yes.
hooligan.
Yeah, some sort of hooligan that was giving one of the daughters trouble at her place of work.
Sure. It was one of those 3-camera sitcom scenes where it got really dramatic and the audience was dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop, and then when he karate kicks him, everybody just gets off the stands and cheers.
It was like, man, justice reigns here.
They wrote that in because I believe Sasha Mitchell is a taekwondo.
I was just looking at his Wikipedia page, and
belt.
he is a Muay Thai practitioner and a black belt in Taekwondo. The only other thing I remember about him
impressed.
is that he was arrested for domestic violence
Yes,
in the
there it
90s,
is.
and he
I
was
was
fired
waiting-
from Step by Step.
I was
as a
waiting
result
how
of it.
long we would get to that.
I mean, it's the first thing I think of when you tell me Cody from Step by Step.
They're parallel memories of me seeing the show and being like, this guy's a defender of the young ladies of whatever city this takes place in.
Yeah.
Chicago?
I think it was Wisconsin. No,
Wisconsin? Oh, yeah, you're
they
right,
were like
you're right.
cheeseheads.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. And when Steve Urkel flew off from Chicago on his jetpack, he landed in their backyard.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Port
Yeah.
Washington, Wisconsin was the city.
And
they were
I
in.
remember seeing that and be like, man, man, this guy's really looking out for the ladies of Wisconsin.
Right.
And then later getting arrested for domestic abuse and being like, okay,
he's a really good actor. He's not just playing himself on TV. He's got a lot of range.
He's actually violent.
He's actually violent in real life, allegedly.
Since we're doing all the backstory up front before we get into the other stuff,
sure.
I think the reason he was brought in, I'm going to guess it's season 2 or later in season 1. He wasn't there from the very beginning.
I think he was an Urkel situation where he was like a recurring guest in the first season, and then he was promoted to a series regular.
Right, but the connection is he also was on Dallas with Patrick Duffy, and I think that's why they brought him in.
Really? Yeah, Duffy wanted to give him a solid to his boy.
Like the Scott Baio to the Chachi to his Fonz.
I never knew that.
There's so much this.
He played James Beaumont, the illegitimate son of J.R. Ewing, which I think, if I know my Dallas, and I don't, I think that might make him Patrick Duffy's brother on the show.
Possibly?
Was Patrick Duffy a Ewing son?
I don't know. I've never seen Dallas. Dallas was an old soap opera primetime show.
I loved the theme song, and then I would turn on some cartoons.
Yeah. Not a kids show.
It's just the amount of crossover between all of these shows on TGIF, and I remember that blew my mind.
Oh yeah,
like if there was ever a crossover,
it was the first
they're in the same
MCU.
universe.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It was the precursor to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You're kind of right, and that was also Disney. Like that was, that's a Disney thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I remember specifically the biggest one that I remember the crossover was when they all went to Disney World like on the same night, and they were all there, and I think like you saw them in the background or something.
Oh my god!
Disney didn't own ABC in the early '90s, right? Didn't they buy them in the mid '90s?
Acquired it by the time Step by Step was on. I believe they would have owned Disney.
Because I feel like that would have been like pretty much Disney bought ABC, this $1 billion merger, and then they're like, all right, let's get the Step by Step in Disneyland. Like it was like right away.
Wow. You're right. It was. Yeah.
And we also cannot go far without just saying how much of a ripoff of the Brady Bunch it was.
An attempt to update and modernize it, I guess.
Literally
they were divorcees.
Yeah. And I remember seeing the Brady Bunch at like Nick at Night, like maybe years later.
Yeah.
Maybe a while later, and being like, oh, this is like Step by Step. Yeah. And I was like, no.
Well, there's a movie that's very similar Step by Step. I don't know what it's called. I don't know who's in it, and I don't know what it's about.
But it's out there.
But it's very similar.
It's out there and
the
existing.
trailer for this movie played before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, on the VHS. So I've seen this trailer for this movie hundreds of times because I always played the VHS of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And it was like this teenage girl, and she's narrating, and she's just like, yeah, this is my brother, this is my father, this is his new wife, this is my mom, his ex-wife, and it's like all these stepkids together, and she's like, we're basically the Brady Bunch from hell. And then Step by Step is kind of the Disney-fied clean version of that.
Can I pause everything we're talking about really quick?
Stopping the clock.
Maybe even stop the clock. I just realized while you were talking that the title Step by Step is a pun because they're taking it like a day at a time, and they're stepbrothers and sisters.
Oh, shit.
I never realized that until this moment. And maybe Dirk didn't either, and maybe some of our listeners didn't.
It occurred to me sometime in my 20s, but then I forgot again.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So that's blowing my mind.
I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah. The one thing I also got me, like, even as a kid watching it, it occurred to me, I was like, are they widowed? Are they both widowed?
Yeah.
They are.
I think both of them were widowed.
They were divorced. Okay.
They might both be
widowed
widows.
And a widower
Yeah.
That came around because there was no messy divorce.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you never saw like the ex-wife or ex-husband come back into the picture.
And also in my brain, at the time, I was like, wouldn't, if this is an attempt to reach out to kids in families that have stepbrothers and sisters and trying to show them, this is how you get along with your stepfamily. Yeah. Aren't you missing the critical element of the fact that you have this completely other family?
Right. Well, there was a sitcom that did include the steps, and a big part of it was having the ex-husband and ex-wife very much as part of their lives. And that was Something So Right. I think it might have been NBC, and it was starring Jeer Burns, who was the sarcastic asshole on Dear John. And he's also the villain.
You're pulling out deep cut sitcom knowledge.
But he's doing all right for himself now. He's got a lot of plastic surgery, but he's one of the main villains in Justified, and he was the grief counselor in Breaking Bad.
Wow.
When Jesse is just like talking about how he killed the dog. And, put the dog.
Problem dog. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. I know that guy. Yeah. By the way, the movie is Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even, according to this Google search I just did.
That was the movie I was talking about?
We're like the Brady Bunch from hell.
Well, you would have
from 1989.
Yeah, I found a posting on the Straight Dope. I don't know what that is, but it's a message board where
kind of
someone
drug
like
website.
you was like, I had a VHS tape, and that was the line they
It's a-
remembered.
it's
It
a-
was a Ninja Turtles movie.
It's a place where
wow. Is there any-
heterosexuals get marijuana. Clearly,
Is there anybody
Clearly.
the marijuana for straight people specific website?
yeah. I don't want none of them gays in my pots.
It's not like the gay weed, which is
Oh,
very,
God.
very
a
I
more
hate-
inclusive
I hate it when a
website.
guy comes to your door, delivers your pot, and you come in and go, wait,
Is this from the Straight Dope?
Is this gay pot?
Oh,
You
man.
giving me gay pot, bro?
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Bro, I don't want to know that gay pot.
I don't want to know that gay pot. You turn on the Scissor Sisters, you're like, yep, it's gay pot. Yep, it's much better now. That's how I know
man.
it's gay pot.
Is there anybody famous in this movie that I've seen? I've seen their faces
Let's
1,000
see.
times.
I got to look
Was
up
it
the
like a
movie now.
young Sam Rockwell?
While you're looking that up, let me also point out those Ninja Turtle VHSs were so overpriced, and I remember
They
I only
were.
got like 2, and it was just like the 4 episodes you'd seen.
Didn't they come
a
from
million
Burger
times.
King? Wasn't it part of like
I
a
just
Happy
remember
Meal
it's
Burger
so.
King?
Kiddies that listen to this podcast, the idea that you can get an entire season
For
of
free?
of anything for $10 to $20 is
Yeah.
astonishing, because
Yeah.
a VHS cost $25 and it had 1, maybe 2 episodes on it.
Yes.
And the idea in your brain that you could sit down and watch all of them in a row,
That would never have even occurred to you.
If that happened, like if I could watch all the Ninja Turtle episodes from beginning to end at
Yeah.
age 10,
Yep.
that would have blown my fucking mind.
These kids today with their streaming services,
You-
they don't know.
I mean,
you
you
watch
had
it all.
you had New Year's Day, Twilight Zone marathons.
Oh, my
you had
God.
Which I
marathons.
never missed.
But besides marathons,
But
there
it
was no
made you
such
so
concept
happy.
of binge watching.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
idea when they had a marathon on once, twice, 3 times a year, like there was a WCW marathon over Halloween on
Hell
TNT,
yeah.
and I would sit and watch for 5 or 6 hours because that was the only
Halloween
time.
Havoc.
Yeah, that was the only time you could watch that many,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
in a row.
I
Yeah.
remember a guy from class, my junior year in college. We were talking about The Shield, and I said, "Yeah, I watched it."
We're not talking about the wrestling Shield,
no,
right?
the Shield with Michael Chiklis.
Okay.
And he goes, "Yeah, let me lend you the DVD so you can catch up on it." And I started watching 6, 7, 8 episodes a day.
Yeah.
And this was before binge watching and marathoning.
That was like when it was
had a name.
becoming.
Yeah, it didn't have a
yeah,
name.
It didn't have
to
a
it.
name yet. Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is really weird how I'm just watching
Yeah.
all of this TV show
Yeah.
willingly because it's not a
Right.
New Year's Day marathon.
Without commercials,
Yeah,
on demand.
and then I remember I followed that up with Alias,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, "What is going on here?" I'm watching all this TV at once, and it was such a weird feeling because it literally didn't exist.
And it was
yet.
so like I remember the very first thing that I binge watched and how like I was just like, oh, this is like a dopamine.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this feels good. There's
Yeah,
something
exactly.
strange about being able to see this thing I love for 9 hours. And you're in college; it's the only time you have 9 hours.
Exactly.
ever.
And you were like, I hope my entire life is like this. And then soon it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then you
no.
got burned out and bored of it. But
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
at my fraternity house, the first 2 seasons of the OC came out. And
Those were big,
Those
yes.
were like those got passed around like. Those were gold at
Yeah.
Delta Upsilon Fraternity House at the University of Missouri. It's like, well, here
Yeah.
you go. And then you're like, bye.
They were big in my fraternity as well.
It was just.
It was that and Arrested Development,
that
where like the shows. Yeah.
Exactly. It was those
Yeah.
2, and everybody was like discovering it because no one could afford fucking cable.
No.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you could afford to spend $30 at the bookstore.
Right.
And you could scrap that together. And then you would just disappear in your room with like 2 or 3 other guys and be like, oh, fuck, man, this is really good. This is really good. This is really, you guys ready to go? You guys want to do another episode?
Yeah,
Like,
let's do one more,
it.
man.
If before
I don't
you know
gotta
it's
go to
4
class.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m. and you ain't making
I'm picturing,
it to econ,
I'm
bro.
picturing like a crack house where everybody's just kind of slumped up against the walls, barely conscious.
Not
Yeah.
far.
Phantom Planet playing in the background.
Yep.
That's pretty much what it was.
Oh,
But yeah,
spot on.
it was a really weird feeling the first time you binge watched at a time before binge watching had a name.
Yeah.
Where you couldn't even put a face to it, really.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're not talking about Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even anymore.
Hey, was anybody in it?
Ben Savage was in it, and he is the only name I recognize.
Wow. Fred
So-
Savage's brother,
The
Boy Meets World.
Savage,
Yeah,
the Savage
and the movie-
brothers.
The movie was not a success. It cost $1 million to make, and the box office was $271,000.
I mean,
That's,
the fact that I've seen the
pretty
trailer
bad.
maybe more than I've seen any trailer of anything ever, and I couldn't even tell you the name of it or what
Yeah.
it was about.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
says something.
So
Yeah,
there you
the
go.
naming really hurt. And then also the thing about TGIF is there would be certain TGIFs that you were like, you're getting all 4 new episodes. Like, there's no refunds. Like, all 4 of the shows that you watch on TGIF, they were like, all new, all Friday. And you're like, all of them?
It's like, Mom, clear my schedule. Friday night is TGIF night.
Yeah, no, I didn't have Friends. No, that was
Friends was on NBC.
TGIF was my Friday night routine for years, where it was basically from 8 to 11. I would watch the 4 shows of TGIF and then watch the 2020 that followed.
Oh, I would watch the 2020 that followed.
So I was getting my balance of
I would never watch 2020.
Oh, I watched 2020. That's how I
every episode.
I watched news. I was a news junkie too.
Hugh Downs, Barbara Walters, and I remember this is a different topic, but I remember the Bronco chase was June 17th, 94. It was a Friday.
Yep.
So it interrupted all of TGIF.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right.
Then 2020 came on, and I was worried that I was going to miss 2020 because the week before they said next week on 2020 we're talking about flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
And I was really excited because I was like, oh, that's such a cool concept. I was really into Outbreak and stuff.
Yep.
I don't think Outbreak was out yet.
No.
I was really into The Stand. I was really into The Stand. So I was really into like plagues and stuff like that. There was another made-for-TV movie I was really into called Black Death or Silent Death, something like that.
There were a lot of plagues in the 90s.
Wow. There really were.
Really
People
were.
worried about
Cow disease.
Hey,
We were very worried
I
about
was
it.
a fleshy. I was really into flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and then the Bronco chase happens. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to preempt my goddamn show.
Right.
And then 2020 comes on. I was like, oh, good. And they go, our topics tonight, OJ Simpson trial and flesh-eating bacteria. It's like, okay, good. And then the show starts, and it's just helicopter footage of the Bronco chases again. It's like, wait, what's going on? And Barbara Walters is just like, we're now going to cut to ABC News Live, and they just fucking show the Bronco chase.
Yeah.
And then they go, we'll talk about flesh-eating bacteria next week. It's like, no, OJ.
Yeah, I'm OJ'd out because we binge watched People vs. OJ and the documentary that ESPN did. So the doc was both of them. I loved both of them. So highly recommended. But there was a little bit in the documentary about like every news channel, like every channel that had a news division, they
June
would
17,
cut out
1994 is the 30 for 30 you're talking about. It's probably their best episode.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I've seen that also, but
that's
they
showing all the news footage.
Yeah, no, I've seen that, and that was also really great. But they did a documentary, a 5-part documentary, OJ Made in America, which talked about it a little bit. Made in America is
fantastic, and it also reminded me that when you're a kid and you're watching your show and your show doesn't come on, you're like, well, am I ever going to see that episode?
Yeah.
It's like that episode lost to the ether.
That's gone.
Like, where's that episode?
Yeah.
And like, if I watch next week, am I going to know what's going on? Even though they were totally not serialized.
not at all.
And you would be like, how is this legal? How are they allowed to do that?
It's because
How dare you cut off step by step?
We better be going to war. The president better be in hospital. Those are the only things in your kid brain. Like, is the president okay?
Ninjas kidnap the president and flesh-eating bacteria. Those are the only 2 things that are allowed to cut the news.
In my brain, I'm just like, okay, what deserves the interruption of TGIF?
Yeah, right.
And you know what? it's not an escape. It's not somebody running from the law.
Oh yeah.
Okay. In my brain, it's just like, is Bush okay? Like, because that's all I'm worried about.
Otherwise, you do not have a big enough
the
excuse.
Iraq war over?
Is it over?
Like,
we won?
Like, have we won? Did
we
have
defeated
like
them?
a VJ day, like sort of thing? Because I anticipated that as a kid. I thought there was going to be parades in the streets. That never happened.
Not so much.
There was a parade for the first Persian Gulf War. It wasn't a parade, but I remember I was 7. My uncle, my dad's brother, served in the first Gulf War, and he came back, and there was a ceremony, and they were all coming back, and we were all crowded on, I think it was like an aircraft carrier or something. I really vaguely remember, and I'm with my grandmother, and we get split up from the rest of my family, and we're like looking for my uncle. We see him in the crowd. They're giving a speech, and she just turns to me and she goes, "Okay, they're gonna they all had these red caps. These veterans of the Persian Gulf War, red baseball caps. You know, you're serving a war, you get a cap.
Yeah.
So she goes, they're gonna throw their caps up in the air, and the music's gonna start playing, and all the kids run out and grab a hat. And I guess this is like a thing they must have done back in her day.
Okay.
So they all throw the hats up, and the band starts playing, and I go as fast as I can to grab a hat.
Sure.
Nobody else does.
Wow.
It's literally like thousands of people on either side of this aircraft carrier, the hat's in the air, and just me at age 7 running into the...
I gotta get a hand.
I'm lucky this was like before 9/11 because they probably would have sniped me out thinking I was like a suicide bomber or something.
Oh my God.
I ran and I grabbed the hat.
I don't think we've gone that bad
So
yet.
I scooped the hat up, I turn around and I run back to my grandma and I got the hat, and then I noticed nobody else did it. It was just me. And
That's amazing.
I had that hat for years. I don't know. I lost it. I don't know what happened to it. But
Sidebar, talking about OJ and the fact that it was 1990, it was 94, right? That made me wonder. I just looked up the Sasha Mitchell, tying it back to Cody from Step by Step. He was arrested in June of 1995, and I have to wonder if we were, as a society, a little bit more attuned to celebrity scandals because OJ had been like the most popular thing ever.
It was the most popular thing ever.
Maybe, yeah, there might be something to that.
And there's also that when you watch the OJ Made in America, the explaining to a different generation the saturation of that story because there's only TV.
Right.
That's it.
You can get it on the internet. There's no internet.
There's no other place to get your information.
Yeah.
So that because there's only one place to get information, that's all you talk about.
Right.
And that's all that it was.
And this was the thing that was putting eyeballs on screens.
And that's
so it was all OJ all the time.
It was interrupting TGIF.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
then when you go out and then when you watch Saturday Night Live, half of them were OJ sketches.
It made Tim Meadows' career.
Oh, God, it did.
It really did make Tim Meadows' career. I just want to read from this Los Angeles Times article about Sasha Mitchell pleading not guilty. This just one line of how 90s this was.
Oh, boy.
Wearing an earring and a fashionable blue suit, the 27-year-old defendant was scheduled for trial Monday. I can just picture him in a fashionable blue suit.
Was this court reporter kind of
there was a picture.
Is this court reporter the one who names the episodes of Comedy Bang Bang? They just describe what the person's wearing?
He became that, yes.
So I do want to get back to Cody, but
sure.
One last thing about OJ, and I want to bring this up because I want you to have something, Dirk, to talk about when you meet James Cameron.
Oh, sure.
OJ was actually the studio's by far first choice to play the Terminator. And Cameron fought them hard on it because he said he's too likable. Nobody would ever believe him as a killer.
Cameron, absolutely right on that call.
This is a fantastic
fact.
I have heard this before.
Yeah,
and also, I hate Avatar.
Look, I'm a huge Cameron fan. I think every single one of his movies is incredible, with 1.5 exceptions. Titanic. I've only seen half of it, but I think
Titanic's okay.
From what I've seen, it seems really well done. And then Avatar is just such a shit movie.
It's just garbage time
I don't
movie.
understand how somebody who's so good and has made so many good movies, yes, but Piranha 2 withstanding.
Right. I don't want to be defending Avatar because I don't love Avatar, but I don't hate it. I think for what it was, it could have been a lot better. It's definitely the weakest James Cameron movie.
I think it's astonishing that they think if they release a sequel now that there's like a fan base that's going to go and see it.
I agree with you completely.
There is a fan base. It's just not a wide stream Lord of the Rings American.
I've been to a lot of conventions in my day, and not like through work and through my life.
People.
And you know what? You don't see a lot of that.
No. There's no ponytail sex happening.
To be fair,
it's
a little harder to put on the blue makeup than to take a toy lightsaber with you.
I love Zoe Saldana a lot.
There are elaborate cosplays happening, and I ain't seen no Avatar.
So I'm guessing the people who were so depressed that Pandora wasn't real.
I have to imagine that was a bunch of bullshit.
I'm guessing they all killed themselves, and that's why there's no more Avatar fans.
They selected themselves out of the population.
They didn't get all the unobtainium.
It was
otherwise known as laziest choice to name something ever in the history of the universe.
It's not great, and
Obtainium?
It's a little lazy.
I'm in such a weird position because I want to defend Avatar, but I don't really like Avatar that much. I just like it better than it seems like you two do.
Unobtainium?
It's watchable in the sense that it's a movie.
Stephen Lang, great Avatar.
It has none of the original, creative, groundbreaking thought that James Cameron has. I mean, I get that the special effects were pretty top notch.
Sure.
But
the world tree?
Maybe on a technical level they were top notch. Visually, I was still like, whatever.
The concept of the world tree is endearing, and I love it. And I wish we all had a world tree that we could worship under and have beautiful blue dragon things we could ride around and have sex with. It would just be so much better than the world we have now.
Why did they just send people in to negotiate?
They could have just done that, but no, they were evil. Can we see what the lineup for TGIF was during the OJ Simpson trial?
During the OJ era. I was going to say,
what would have
TGIF
gotten interrupted that night during TGIF?
I do want to apologize for that OJ tangent, but I wanted to really cement home that 8 to 11 TGIF 2020 combo was my childhood. That was my Friday night.
I loved it so much because I loved the news and I loved situation comedy.
So I actually just found the TV listings for June 17th, 1994.
Nice.
Okay.
You got the Stanley Cup parade.
So here's what was on.
NBA Finals.
Yeah.
It was all repeats. I guess this was after the season finale.
Yeah, that makes sense. It was June.
You had 2 episodes of Family Matters at 8 and 8:30.
Yeah.
Step by Step, and then Hanging with Mr. Cooper. All preempted by the Bronco chase.
Well, we'll never know what Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Black on black crime.
Yeah. Oh my
Just
god.
OJ preempting.
2020
Mark
though
Curry.
was new that night.
Oh.
Yeah,
And the topic was supposed to be flesh-eating bacteria. It doesn't say that, but I just assume you were correct.
I am.
ABC Friday Night Legacy. Let's because there's some of these that were in and out so quickly that I don't think I remember some of the TGIF.
Oh yeah, I mean there was a lot of one season
There were a lot of-
wonders.
yeah,
You had your
it was one-
Teen Angels.
And you know what was ridiculous
There
is
was
that
Teen Angel.
you gave them a real fair shake when you were a kid.
Oh,
because they were in
always. I
between,
always watched them,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were in between your favorite shows, and you were like, "All right, I'll watch. What are you giving me, ABC?"
I can't think of a show I've ever watched as a young enough kid where I was just like, well, this isn't up to my taste. You just
I know.
consume it. You just-
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I liked everything, so
And
I don't understand how you canceled anything.
Right, and
because I
especially-
watched it.
Especially at this time when Nickelodeon wasn't making I think
Yeah.
they're like zitcoms or something they're called now,
Yeah.
like sitcoms for like tweens and teens,
Yeah. And
which is what
also-
TGIF was
And
essentially.
also, we should point out that like the amount of reruns on Nickelodeon at this point in time was insane.
Yeah.
like Nickelodeon was repeat viewing
Nick at Night.
80% of the time. Like something new on Nickelodeon was crazy.
Because
Right.
they didn't have that much money. They couldn't
they
make
didn't have
their
that much
original
programming.
content.
Right. I mean, they had the Nicktoons that started was Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and
Yeah.
Stimpy, all of which I hope are topics in our topic generator
Yeah.
because I want to talk about all
Yeah,
of them.
those are
well,
great.
and that's what I want to get into is so TGIF. I'm assuming is a topic, so I don't want to stay too much
Sure,
on this.
yeah. But
the very first season of TGIF was Webster and Mr. Belvedere.
Well, that was pre-TGIF.
Oh, is it?
TGIF, the
That's
actual
the
concept
ABC
of
Friday
TGIF
Night
was
Live. Yeah.
1988.
It was Perfect Strangers, Full House, Mr. Belvedere, and
Wow.
Just the 10 of Us.
Streaks
And
on
then-
vagina.
and 2020
2020
is actually counted as part
I
of
never
TGIF.
considered 2020 to be part of the.
I
According to
Totally did.
Wikipedia.
Totally
All right,
did.
so now we're going to go up to the first
Oh my God,
mention of
Dinosaurs.
Step by Step.
1991 was the first step by step. So what do we got that year?
It was Family Matters, Step by Step, and then it was Perfect Strangers / Baby Talk / Dinosaurs, and then Baby Talk / Billy / Baby Talk.
Wow, there's a
Now,
lot of these that are
Baby
just-
Those
Talk was
are-
on before Step by Step, so this is the post George Clooney years of Baby Talk. This is the Scott Baio era.
Yes. We all know the different eras of Baby Talk,
course.
Jack. You don't need to tell us.
So I got to easily go. Family Matters is my number one of all time TGIF.
Really?
I
yeah.
don't know that I would agree with you.
I don't know if I
Dinosaurs
could-
I would put number 2. Perfect Strangers number 3. Step by Step number 4.
Are we just talking about the
What?
91, 92 shows here?
Yes.
Because
What?
I'm going to Boy Meets World almost immediately.
I'm thinking of Boy Meets World. I'm also thinking Muppets Tonight, which I was a big fan
Oh,
of.
I
but-
love
TGIF.
Muppets
But anyway,
Tonight.
it was.
Yeah.
It's down there in 95. But I got to know, what is Billy? I don't remember
Yeah,
what Billy
the-
is.
what
That's the only one I don't
What in
recognize.
God's green earth is Billy?
We're going to see what that is. It is a sitcom
Billy
with Billy
Connolly.
Connolly, a spin-off of Head of the Class.
I do remember this, yeah.
He was
It
he was
lasted
a
13
Scottish
episodes.
teacher in an American
It
classroom.
had Johnny
It
Galecki.
had future millionaire Johnny Galecki.
future billionaire.
Yeah,
Well, all right.
All right,
So,
so
Billy,
let's-
Billy is not in the rankings, but
I liked hanging with Mr. Cooper a lot too. And we can also point out some of these got
Aliens in the
canceled
Family.
and did not come to an end that was acceptable
Yeah.
for human beings. Because I remember Dinosaurs just ended
yeah.
and the world ended.
Oh yeah,
Dinosaur
it ended
ended
with the extinction
With
of
the
the dinosaurs.
extinction of the dinosaurs about
Yeah.
like some portent about like we're killing our environment.
Right.
And you know what? I was what is that, 1990?
probably 95.
95. So I'm 11.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
I can't think
get
of-
that you're trying to make a point about global warming,
Sure.
or like
Yeah.
I remember seeing that last episode and be like, this is it. Like I
it's
gotta
like, oh,
prepare.
I'm going to die.
like I'm gonna.
It's pretty
fucking
much
die.
it's Lost and Dinosaurs are the only two shows where everybody dies.
That's what I was
at the
going to
Yeah.
say, yeah.
I remember that really got to me. I don't remember how Family Matters ended, but
They all
end.
died.
They all died. It was a nuclear winter.
Yeah. Steve Urkel caused a nuclear...
did they move
You
out?
kill the world, Steve!
Steve. Did family member? Did they all? Did they have
It
one?
ended with Laura and Urkel getting married.
On
Okay.
CBS, too.
On-
She's torn between Urkel and Urkel, who are now.
The two different.
They became
human
separate beings,
Yeah,
right?
he cloned himself and then turned one
Sure.
permanently into
Okay.
Stefan
Yes.
Urkel.
Okay. Now I have a memory of that. I have memories.
It
of
wasn't
that.
on TGIF though. They canceled Family Matters TGIF,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
CBS bought them
Bought it.
and Step by Step, and they aired their final seasons on CBS.
Step by step moved out. There was a move out episode
Well,
of that house, right? Or was that just?
It might have been part of the
maybe.
CBS lineup.
Maybe
but
that was a Growing Pains, because I knew a Growing Pains, and they're like, and we're all moving out.
I think it might have been or
Well,
Hogan Family.
apparently Step by Step also moved to CBS, which I didn't
That's what I just
remember.
said.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't say that.
And Cody got fired for the domestic abuse,
Right.
and he was replaced by Bronson
Pinchot.
who played a crazy Frenchman that moves into the house for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Didn't he like work with Suzanne Summers or something?
Oh, in her hair salon that was in the back.
Yeah, I think so. And it was
can
like
we point out Suzanne Summers in a
We can
formative time in our male lives?
I just saw
Suzanne
her-
Summers was.
hey man, the
Yeah.
Thigh Master was a thing at that time, and those commercials.
I just saw her.
remember them.
Yes.
I just watched her last week in a nude scene. I don't remember if she was nude.
Let's bring it up. Let's watch it right now.
But by nude scene, I don't mean she was nude. I mean it was a scene full of nudity.
Okay.
So I don't remember if she was specifically nude. If she was an extra.
Yeah.
And it's Dirty Harry Part 2, Magnum Force, and there's a guy gunning people, the rich girls and guys like naked on a rooftop pool and like gallivanting and giggling, and this guy just guns them down. I think it might have been Robert Urich or
that sounds difficult
Tim
to
Matheson.
masturbate to.
So yeah,
Not impossible, but difficult.
So he
It's an uphill battle.
so he guns them down, and Suzanne Summers was one of the victims.
All right, well,
Oh, okay.
I know what I'm watching
That's your
tonight.
Dirty Harry step by
Fucking
step.
yikes. I'm glad I didn't see that during my formative sexual
that would
years.
also have
No,
been a bit
it's
of a
kind
problem.
of a thing I have. Name me a 90s TV sitcom star, and I'll tell you the scene they were naked and shot in a irrelevant
All
cleaning
right,
service.
the
that's a
mother
weird-
from Dinosaurs.
The mother from Dinosaurs. She was played by.
Oh, my God.
Who was she played by? Not Jessica. Oh, Jessica Walter. Yeah.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
you're
and
right.
She
I
was,
forgot
and
about
there's that
that.
classic Arrested Development episode where she's gunned down and
You're
naked.
right. Yep,
That
and
is-
totally naked.
That's the weirdest niche on Mr. Skin.
By the way, just since we're mentioning Jessica Walter for some reason, she was in the original Doctor Strange movie. It was a TV movie in the 70s, I think.
Oh, yeah,
she
she's right,
played
yeah.
Morgana Le Fay,
Yeah.
and she
Oh,
was
wow.
beautiful.
It's actually a really good.
Now
casting.
that
is
is a thing that will be Googled
yeah,
immediately upon
perfect
completing.
casting, and just like she was terrific. It's a
Yeah.
shitty movie, obviously, but like
Sure
she's
is.
amazing in it.
Somebody should make a fan edit where they combine all of the scenes from the new Doctor Strange movie,
Yeah.
but replace all the Morgan Le Fay with the Jessica Walter.
Put Jessica Walters in
Just
there.
Jessica Walters
Chiwetel
in there.
Ejiofor's out. Let's get Jessica Walters in.
That movie's gonna be so
All right.
fucking good.
I'm very excited
can't
about Doctor
go-
Strange.
anyway, that
Very
movie's
excited.
gonna
I am very excited about
Yeah.
it.
We're moving away from our topic, so I'm wondering if maybe we should
I
even
was
pick
a little
new
bit
topic.
too young for Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I didn't. I
Really?
got into Sabrina the Teenage
wasn't
Witch. I
for
was
me.
growing out. I was growing out of it. I was
Oh,
like, you know what?
Yeah,
That-
me too.
Yeah.
I never watched Sabrina and Salem and their wacky adventures with her aunts.
Well, I remember thinking in my brain, I was like, no, that's Clarissa Explains It All. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck
exactly,
is she doing
exactly.
being a witch? And that's kind of when I started checking out, right there around the late 90s.
Yeah,
I mean-
she was probably playing a high schooler in that, right?
She was, yeah.
But to me, she is already like, oh, that's old man.
She graduated
yeah.
like 3 years ago.
well,
This
she,
is in
she
my
was
brain, you
she
know?
was definitely not high school age. She was
No,
much older,
no,
but she
Old
was
man
playing high
Clarissa
school.
over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
Like, hey, everybody, you want to see me do some magic? I'm a teenage witch.
Can you go up and see when it actually came to its TGIF first conclusion?
1999.
1999.
With Boy Meets World, the Hughleys, Sabrina, and the Hughleys again.
So I was a sophomore, junior.
Well, I was
here's
definitely
funny-
not watching the Hughleys,
And here's the
so I
problem.
tapped out probably 99.
Look at this. I mean, these are all shows that you're watching at other times. That like, there's so many of this stuff was in syndication that's being
Yep.
on at other times, and
Yeah.
it's sort of the time when like there's the number of channels is blowing up. So like the idea of like we have must see TV
Yeah.
is dying. Like
Yeah,
right at
I
this
was also
period
in
of
high school
time.
at this
Yep.
point.
I was in
and-
high school and I'm going out with my friends and babes, right?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Friday
All
night.
those babes.
Yeah,
Well,
tons of babes.
99, 2000, the last spring of 2000, the last season of TGIF was when me and Dan was just starting to go to the mall by ourselves. We were,
Yeah,
we
You
were
guys are
hanging out at the
walking
mall.
through a
we
band
were
and
walking
Yep,
through the
that's right.
abandoned mall.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
So basically, and we did it on Friday nights.
Yep, we did.
So basically, instead of watching the Hughleys, we walked around
Well,
Best
Right.
Buy.
I don't
Well,
think I've ever seen an
well,
episode of the
here's-
Hughleys, unless it was on at Best Buy.
Yeah, here are two things happened in 99, 2000. One, my friend Doug and Evan got cars first.
Nice.
So they got cars, and they were like, "We're mobile. We can
Yeah.
we
That's
can
a-
live.
it's a big
our,
deal. The
We can
world's
live.
our oyster."
We can live our lives." And what did we do? We went and bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, whichever one was out.
Oh, yeah.
And then came home to my basement, and the seven of us sat in the basement. And did we watch television? Absolutely not.
Hell no.
We
You gotta
played Tony
grind,
Hawk's
bro.
Pro Skater.
You gotta master that ollie.
until we just drove it into the ground. Like
Yeah.
every single one of them, we got it like. it came out and we're like, well, this weekend shot.
Those were amazing.
We're gonna
I'm
get
ready to listen to the
100% on
same
this.
NoFX song over and over.
Absolutely.
And
we're going to love it. And you know what? That's what killed TGI. You know what? Tony
gonna
Hawk
unlock-
Pro Skater killed the TGIF star.
I think we solved it.
That's it.
So I want to get back to Sasha Mitchell if we do move on to the next topic.
what has he been up to lately is what I'm wondering now.
So it's a Reliant K song. What have you been up to lately?
Oh my God, you guys, we're falling back into the last time I was on this program.
Talking about 90s music.
Garbage
punk.
stuff that we listened to.
All roads lead to pop punk.
Yeah.
So no, he was in the Kickboxer movies.
He was
I
in
knew
Dickie
that.
Roberts' former child star as Angry Driver.
That's a great,
very
great
meta.
casting,
Yeah.
if anything.
He was so angry he punched his wife.
He was in
that
NYPD
movie. That was a terrible
Blue
joke.
episode.
And judging by this resume, look at ER, NYPD Blue was the last thing he did in 2005. I remember before I tried to become a professional actor, when you're a kid, you're like, they're on TV. They're rich.
Yeah, they're clearly
they're
billionaires.
rich, and they'll be billionaires forever.
Yeah.
And now I've been in the performing arts for long enough to be like, that guy was scraping by like early 2000s. This guy was just like, oh boy. Even the residuals from Step by Step, he's probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Step by Step is on anywhere now.
I mean, it's
maybe.
It's not on
I don't
Netflix.
know. Maybe he's alive. He can make his mortgage, but he's
Sure.
probably not.
Well,
Maybe.
now that Fuller House is doing so well, they should make Stepper by Stepper.
Stepper by
Stepper.
I would watch that probably.
No. I'd go Step by Step by Step. They've gotten divorced and they've both gotten remarried.
You got the
and
Step grandkids.
Oh, man.
and-
Well, no, the original
extra
couple.
step kids.
Yeah, they have gotten a divorce, and then they have new families, and those and they have.
So we're talking like 6 total families.
Yes,
Yeah,
step by
exactly.
step
Children.
by step.
Plus the in-laws.
Gonna be
plus
expensive.
the grandkids
Yeah.
and maybe great-grandkids
Yay,
at this
3
point.
Christmases.
But I want to talk about the actor scraping by. I have a distinct memory of watching like a hard copy or more like an Entertainment Weekly or an Extra.
Yeah.
And it was right before the Seinfeld finale, and they were these entertainment news reporters were staking out the studio and getting people as they were driving out of the studio after filming the final episode.
That's
of
so
Seinfeld.
crazy.
I remember that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's Kenny Bania, the actor who plays Kenny Bania, is driving out of the studio. And they lean into his car and they're interviewing him through the car window. And he's just like, yeah, it was fun, but it's also really sad. I'm just like, I remember thinking, why is he driving himself to the studio? Like, where's his limo?
He's clearly a sultan.
Like, where is his millionaire jetpack?
He's getting all those residuals from working still.
But it's
the
really
Fred
weird.
Savage
Like,
sitcom.
he was a
even worse.
prominent Seinfeld recurring character. It's weird to think of, I'm driving to be on Seinfeld.
Right.
That was so crazy. And now there's just so much fucking content.
Yeah.
That like there's no like.
How's their
Very
money?
few
Yeah.
people are getting rich.
They're not
being
getting
on a
they're
show.
not getting the Johnny Galecki bucks.
No.
No.
And I like a mediocre, like a show that's doing well right now.
Yeah.
Like Rick and Morty, those guys are probably making a good amount of money.
They're probably, they're not
good.
poor.
They're not poor, but they're not.
Yeah,
floating
but
in,
just
like,
Justin
safes
Roiland's
filled
not.
with-
Yeah, exactly.
they're
He's not Scrooge McDucking out in L.A.
No,
And,
not at all. Because there's
yeah.
7 billion other shows to watch.
Yeah.
In TGIF world, there were 3, and
Yeah.
there were the 3 other shows that came on
That's
after
a
the
good
first
point.
one.
Yeah.
So what are we coming down on? We saying that Cody got a nice little paycheck at the time?
I don't know. I have to see
probably
how
not.
many episodes he was in. To see how
Apparently, he
many.
was in 114 episodes, if Wikipedia is to be believed.
114. That's a lot
That's
of
a lot.
residuals.
That's-
Well, he also came back in '98 at some point after the domestic abuse.
Yeah.
I guess he got out of jail.
Which I think he was acquitted of it. I think,
Oh, all
or he
right.
pled
We
no,
should probably
no
say
contest.
something
I don't
like
know.
that,
All this is we don't know. This is not a news program.
I might be alone on this. When the show was very young, like in its first seasons, I was
Yeah.
very young. I had trouble with the name Cody. I thought it was Coyote. Like,
Oh, really?
Because Cody, I guess it was becoming a popular name in the early '90s.
Right,
with,
Kathy Lee's
Lee's
son, yeah.
Cody, make your doo-doo. But Cody wasn't a popular name where I grew up, and
No.
It was a popular name. I was in the middle of America.
I don't think
And
I'd
it's
ever,
a little bit more. I'm going to say it, little white trashish.
Sure.
like a Cody has a rat tail.
Yeah,
Cody's on the other side
what
of the
I picture
tracks.
of Cody.
well,
Cody's-
I'm guessing that's why they named this character Cody.
Yeah, like
Maybe.
Cody was like the kid's name's Cody at school, where I was just like, don't mess with them.
Future meth heads,
yeah,
Codys.
they may have a switchblade on them.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think I've ever met a Cody in my entire life.
No, Agent Cody Banks is my best friend. I've met him. I've met him.
You and
I
your
know him
DVD
well.
copy of Agent Cody
Yeah,
Banks.
I know him well.
Sure.
I know the trailer that plays before Agent Cody Banks
Yep.
very well. It's
Big
about
girls still don't cry.
But no, I think I would still pronounce it Cody, but in my head I was like, oh, coyote, like the dog
It's
type
spelled
creature.
like a coyote.
Like the dog type creature. You all know the coyote.
Yeah, you had abandoned
Yeah.
lots where you guys walking through where you saw,
We were chased by a lot of Codys and coyotes. So.
You saw all this stuff. That's
Yeah,
so,
it's tough.
Well, I would say that my favorite out of all of those is still, but I didn't watch it during TGIF, was Boy Meets World. I started watching Boy Meets World after I came home from high school, watch an episode of that.
Really?
I
I remember
Boy Meets World. I liked the first season
Really?
where he's
Love.
in junior high, and then
I hate that
I didn't
season.
like it when it was getting sentimental.
The first season's pretty crappy.
Oh, it had Minkus. Come on, everybody loved Minkus.
Nobody liked
Nobody
Minkus.
liked
Everybody
Minkus.
liked Minkus.
They dropped
Minkus?
Minkus
What
like
was
a
his
sack
name?
of bricks.
What was his name?
Minkus.
Minkus,
But he
Dinkus.
was the nerdy guy.
M I
Right?
N
Big nerd, yeah.
C-U-S. And then
Topanga was like a weird hippie.
Right. She wasn't like this star. They're like
The
at
girl
the end,
next
by
door.
the end, it was they're star-crossed lovers,
Yeah,
and
I
it was
didn't like that.
destiny.
I liked it, and I also liked it that like even like high schools would start,
Yeah.
and I would check out for like a year and a half, and I'd come back and I'm like, oh my god, they're like adults trying to make it in the city.
Yeah.
Jesus, they're really sticking
Ben
to
It
this.
went to weird
Savage's
places.
puberty hit like a bull. Like
Right. I was like,
It
hey,
really
the Boy
did.
Meeting World, and it's like, hey, Boy Meets
And
World.
then it was man meets pubes.
Yeah.
Like,
It was like the scene from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where he just
Right.
erupted in body hair. And,
But I think, and this is the biggest thing from TGIF that I think that I had in my brain. I was like, that's what high school and college will be like.
Yes.
Yes, I'm thinking Boy
Like,
Meets World.
that's what
Absolutely.
life will be like.
Yeah.
Like when I grow up, like years are coming, and that's what they're going to be like.
Yep. I'm gonna
Saved
be
by the
living
Bell
that
was
life.
was my high school
Yeah.
college picture. The picture. I always pictured college to be like Saved by the Bell. The
Yeah.
college
Sure.
is,
Yeah.
Then I went to NYU, which is not a real college without a real campus, and
Without
it
a
was
real campus and what?
just lots of protesting and.
I
go.
had a
And-
much
and-
different. Well, then here was the thing. I went to my high school was not far off to the high school of like every, the most quintessential like, oh, the football team's the biggest deal, and you're in
Right,
the middle
right.
of America,
Like the
and
John Hughes archetypal high
Yes,
school.
it's
You went to Cody.
85%.
You went to Cody High.
Yes, there's 85% white people, and then there's
Sure.
there's other minorities sprinkled in, and everybody's tries to be super accepting of it, but there's some racist kids, and
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
be
yeah, you
the
gotta-
tweens, and like the theater kids are kind of weird, and
Right.
it was so like I got there and I was like, well, they really nailed
They
that.
nailed it.
Like that was spot on, and I was like, I bet I
Absolutely.
get picked on a little bit there. Yep, here it comes. Like
I bet Moose is going to shove me into a locker.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
yeah, so
Like
like.
crusty old principal.
Yep.
So like those tropes, I got to high school and then I was just like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
got
this
it.
is real.
I
Oh,
was
this
like, John
happens.
Hughes
Okay.
was just spot on. But
You
that
know,
was-
you know what wasn't like what I pictured? Adulthood.
yeah,
Yeah.
adulthood, yeah,
much
way
sadder.
off.
And,
I'm not
What-
like playing video games all the time. I'm not eating ice cream for dinner.
yeah,
And
no,
then when I
it's-
do, I just go,
Oh, I should have done that.
what the fuck am I doing?
I'm going to have diarrhea for a year.
Like, why did I? Oh, God.
a lot more whys than I expected.
Yeah, not enough. Whoa, and a lot more. Why?
Why?
All right, so we've
Oh,
got
Lord.
14 minutes left exactly on the clock. Should we try another topic?
I think we could do another topic.
So what we
Oh,
got?
okay. You guys want to squeeze another one in there? I mean, that's the.
I mean,
all
we
the
could stretch
TGIF.
out Cody, I think, for 12, 13 episodes.
mean-
Well, guys, it's not really a new topic, but I do have our new topic. It is from Heather Gaw, past guest of the show, Dinosaurs, the TV show. So
And we just blew the levels out of that
yeah,
microphone.
we'll fix that.
Oh,
we
man.
won't.
We'll fix our.
So we got 13 and a
commentary.
half
well, we already
minutes.
talked about the finale.
Bum, 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 bum.
It was
Dinosaurs was a great show.
Was it a Jim Henson joint?
yeah,
It was.
The animatronics were so good. The,
I remember-
the puppetry was great.
It really
Yeah.
it really captured my imagination when I was a kid. Well, there's no other stuff from my childhood that I just enraptured me like
Yeah.
anything Jim Henson did.
Yeah.
Like Jim Henson did
Sure.
something, and it did something to your kid brain.
That's right. Your Twitter is Kermit the Dirk.
My
That's
Twitter
right.
is Kermit the Dirk. Like, and then you go back and look at it, the way he made these worlds was just, it made me feel like that's a real, because they really made
It
these
felt
sets. And they
very lived in
Yeah,
and
it was just
real,
like,
yeah.
holy shit, I could go to Fraggle Rock.
Right,
I
like you
could
forgot,
go-
like, oh, these are puppets. Like, no, we're recording Fraggle
Yeah.
Rock live.
There's something about
Yeah,
what
I agree.
puppets do to like tapping into a kid brain. Like there's something about like how it hijacks a kid brain that you're like, oh, this is real.
But not
this
any
is
type,
so
just
real.
not just any type of puppets. Because we were talking about Ninja Turtles last week, and Jim Henson Productions did the Turtles in the first movie, and they look so real and they look so good.
And I remember when they first showed up when you were a kid. They first showed up in the movie. You're like,
you're like, holy shit!
They looked live action.
Yeah.
But then the other two movies and that horrible TV show that was all puppets, that was not Jim Henson, and it looked much worse.
It was terrible. Yeah.
Like Jim Henson, he had passed away by the time Dinosaurs made it to air.
Yeah.
But he
the studio
he was
and the
so
philosophy.
Good. Yeah, exactly. I think he drilled that into his proteges, I guess. I think his son might run Henson Productions
so
now.
I'm not a big Henson fan, or at least I don't have the same...
Your childhood must suck.
Yeah, I don't have the same nostalgic passion for him. I definitely
Street.
objectively appreciate it. I watched Sesame Street on and off. I wasn't
sure.
Yeah, I really... Muppet Babies was the closest I got to the
and
Jim
I love
Henson
Muppet
ones.
Babies.
I loved, and that had that adult humor in it too.
Yeah, but I did love... I was obsessed with dinosaurs. All my coloring books were dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I just loved.
Now, do you mean the concept of dinosaurs or the
concept?
television
What are
show
you, a
Dinosaurs?
creationist? No, the concept of dinosaurs.
We're really getting into some stuff now.
Look, dinosaurs aren't real. This was all a
Earth
fiction
is
from Jim
3,000
Henson.
years old. You guys are wacky. All right?
The government made the show Dinosaurs so that we would think the world was actually millions of years
Jack,
old.
dinosaurs
course.
couldn't exist. The Millennium Giants come to town every 1,000 years and destroy everything.
No, I loved the creatures, dinosaurs. I just was, I was obsessed with them. So the show Dinosaurs, one of my favorite. I was enraptured with it. I know every episode by heart.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the same Jim Henson appreciation, or at least I wasn't aware
You
that
didn't
I
have
did.
that
because I
connection.
did love Ninja Turtles, and I did love the Muppets, and I did love Sesame Street. I guess Jim Henson wasn't a part. He was behind the scenes for me. I didn't know who Jim Henson really was.
And also that lends to what we were talking about with the finale, that it gets dark.
Very adult.
Jim Henson always did that, like in the Fraggles and in certain Muppet episodes, like if you look at the Muppet movie where they're out in the desert, and he's talking to himself about failure, and it's like
the Muppet movie gets pretty heavy.
It gets dark, and there's all these moments about like death. And the fact that life is finite.
Which
and
is
like,
great that it's mature like that. And it's talking to kids it's still for kids, but it's talking to them on an adult level.
I mean, what's more finite than the finale of Dinosaurs?
Well, so we're harping on the finale. The Dinosaurs had other dark episodes. There was a two-parter
I'm sure they did.
that was an analog for racism, where the two-leggers were having a beef with the four-leggers. The four-leggers were the secondary race, the inferior race.
Right.
I can't think of the actual term for it. Not when you're not actually inferior, but you're treated to be inferior. And the mom, what was the mom's name? Ruth?
Wasn't it like Beatrice or something?
No.
I'm looking it up.
Anyway,
Fran.
Her best friend was a four-legger, big brontosaurus.
Yeah.
And it was great because the puppetry was so fun. You'd always just see her head and neck coming into the house.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, she got a job as like a construction worker. She got a job with Earl, and they're like, oh man, a four-legger doing the job. And just the brilliance of this, the word legger, four-legger, two-legger.
Oh my God,
They're doing,
It's not the same.
It's not the same, but we've said it before in the show. Anything with two G's is kind of just tainted at this point. You don't want to, a G and a half at most you want in a word.
Well, they did it on Fraggle Rock as well, because the Fraggles were late, like they wanted to have fun all the time, and the Doozers were working all the time. And he said that his concept for all that is that he wanted to show kids that if people that value different things can still hang out together. They can still hang out together. They can still help each other.
Which is great.
That's awesome.
And then they were less super. I mean, it's very hard to get less serious. It's very, very hard to get more serious than racism in the end of the world. But there was also episodes on consumerism. I remember Fran invents the return. She's like, I want to give you this back. We don't want it, and I want my money back.
Yeah.
And the dinosaur salesman's like, wait, I don't understand. Like, it was brilliant stuff like that. And,
that's
again,
really smart.
It was a kid's show, but
It was
a kid show, but it dealt with some heavy themes. And here's something that I didn't realize. I'm just looking at it on Wikipedia right now. Jim Henson had the idea in the late 80s, and the studios didn't want to do it. They thought he wanted to do a sitcom with a standard sitcom structure, but the only difference being it's a family of dinosaurs, and their society has this strange, toxic lifestyle. And the only reason that it eventually made it to air is because of The Simpsons.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because I'm obviously a huge fan of the show.
Of course.
The show kind of has a bad reputation of being this cheesy knockoff of The Simpsons.
I mean, The Simpsons themselves made fun of it in an episode.
But it's not a cheesy knockoff of The Simpsons. And clearly it wasn't if Henson came up with it first.
Well, it's not a cheesy knockoff.
Just playing
but
with the trope.
There is certain Simpsons elements
in
the show.
I don't think it's a shitty show. Like I think
it's a shitty show.
But I think it has a bad rap because of that Simpsons Simpsons.
Right.
Well, there was. I mean, look at
connection.
the TGIF really recycles so many of the tropes
Yeah.
at the time. That was just like, we just want to make kids not watch a cartoon. And then we have to have these sort of structure tropes that they can just tap into. It's like, oh, that's what dads do, and this is what moms do, and this is the way. Oh, they all come. Like every episode takes place like coming home from school, and this is what the family's up to.
Yep, Fridays, the Friday's the day you mop the floors.
Yeah,
Right.
There was always that stuff that a kid, no matter what they were watching or what their wherever they were in the country, could be like, oh, okay, well that's how that family operates.
I'm really glad to hear that Jim Henson came up with this idea first,
Yeah.
because people say...
Well, according to his son, this is at least.
But they say it ripped off The Simpsons because it's got the cool son and the nerdy daughter and stuff like that. But
Well,
really,
and the father who is kind of fat and an idiot, and he works at a power plant type thing.
But the way they really are similar is their subversive take on modern,
You're right.
late
I
20th
agree with
century
you.
society, because they really, if you watch the Dinosaurs, they're watching so much TV, and like
It's
the
a lot of
Simpsons,
Roseanne.
there's so much, there's
a lot of Roseanne,
there's so much consumerism and media, and it really did nail that like the existential crisis of being a late 20th century American.
It really had that, and all of these had that same kind of weird underlying that like baby boomers have enough.
Yeah.
And what do we do now that we have enough? Like we find
That's a
other
great
things
point,
to worry about. We find like whether it be they these witch hunts that they would always go on. There was always like, when do we have too much? There was always like greed episodes. There was always a trope where like a kid gets obsessed with a thing and they don't really need the thing.
Yep.
Like those are such 90s
Which Dinosaurs
tropes.
did great, because he was obsessed. They were consuming the hell out of this product, and it was about to go extinct.
Yeah.
And they didn't have they didn't have the concept of
Yeah.
extinct. And he was like, I remember he was using grapes. He's like, look, I'm going to eat this grape. If this is the last grape, we can't grow more grapes. This is it. And they're like, well, you just go to the supermarket, you get more grapes.
Right.
And he's just trying to convey
That's very
the idea.
like Idiocracy, too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the show was really firing on all cylinders, much like The Simpsons was. It was.
But I agree with you completely. We're running out of time. We only have 5.5 minutes left. I will not go another second without talking about the baby
Yeah,
from
we do have to talk
Dinosaurs.
about Baby Sinclair.
Not the mama. You guys remember Not the Mama?
This might not be a topic.
Can
so
we
I
play the music video
Yes.
for the baby's song?
But I need to bring this up quickly because it might
Yes.
not actually be one of our 800 topics. But
Sure.
when we were looking at the TGIF lineup, there was a show called Aliens in the Family. Now that
I do
was
remember Aliens
a
in the Family.
cheesy, not very well thought out ripoff of Dinosaurs, where they
Right.
also had the baby character.
Yes.
Oh my god.
If you don't remember Dinosaurs, if you never watched it, the baby was actually it was a puppet, and it was voiced by Kevin Clash, who did Elmo.
And
Also,
pretty much the Elmo voice.
Just you
Yeah,
won't
it's
see
pretty much the
anything
Elmo
else
voice.
in the way that this is shot and lit and everything. It's worth, like, if you've never seen it, just watch clips and just see how weirdly the set design and the stage design is done
It
for
really
a
is.
primetime show.
And the baby-
you won't see anything like it.
the baby took off
Got an
as
Overwatch
like
commercial.
the.
I'll
we
play
are
it.
on YouTube.
I'm really good at Overwatch if anyone wants to play.
The mama, not the mama.
That's
So
the baby.
his thing was he would hit the dad in the
With the-
head,
with the frying pan.
and the dad is not the mama.
And I don't know if this is the song, but he does the song. Oh, put "I'm the Baby, Gotta Love Me" music video.
This was it.
No, this isn't it. Trust me, I've seen it several times, Jack.
And the baby is adorable. He's got the big eyes.
He is, and I get the song stuck in my head far more often than any
The
adult
Deep the
male
Dinosaur
should.
MTV spoof. This is all great.
Yeah, if you watch this on YouTube, it's "I'm the Baby, Gotta Love Me" music video.
Also, you can see here. Oh wow, it looks just like Kurt Loder, but a dinosaur.
It does.
does.
But this is also very, very derivative of The Simpsons, where Bart had do the Bartman, and now it's like not
no,
the mama,
the
about the baby.
The baby is where the show kind of started eating its own tail.
Yeah, that was definitely.
We'll skip all this.
The baby was the Steve Urkel or the Cody of
Yeah,
Dinosaurs.
it really was.
I feel like TGIF did that all the time, where they would
it's
have these
another thing that
breakout
we were talking
characters.
about.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't just
A
TGF, though. It was
character-
the Fonz on Happy Days.
I
It was-
get.
Yeah.
Well, the Fonz
but
was always
it's
there.
a trope that, like, if kids they're not watching every
No, the
week and they
Fonz
can
was
keep
not
that.
part of the original Happy Days. He was.
He wasn't?
Well,
He was
he
at
was like the side character that
Yeah.
blew up in the show.
Right,
revolved.
right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it each has those things that, like, a 10-year-old that came back and be like, oh, he does that thing.
Yeah.
I get it. That's how I know
Yep,
him.
yep.
Yeah. Eventually, there will be music in this music video.
Yeah,
There's
no,
a lot of
I'm
intro
keeping
here.
the volume down till it starts.
strange.
I can't believe how much that dinosaur looks like Kurt Loder.
It's a lot like Kurt Loder.
That's really well
That
done.
was- that's the greatness
I
of
want to mention
Dinosaurs.
too how great Earl's company is. We Say So.
Yes,
that's so smart.
I always love that. Yeah.
Oh
my God. I think I've mentioned this.
Oh my god, the fact that you guys have said that it was
the
Elmo has
frying
ruined
pan.
it for me
Yeah.
because
Well, look at
the
the
baby.
great filmmaking here. He's singing on TV, and then it cuts to him watching himself and taking over the lyrics.
Yeah. Like I will play. I will
He is
like.
adorable.
I will sing this song to my wife just to get it stuck in her head.
He just wants all that sugar.
And it works.
Oh my god.
So what kind of dinosaur is Baby?
He's a baby
Also,
dinosaur.
his name is Baby. Like in the
Right.
the-
His name was just Baby.
in like the 9th or 10th episode. They were like, we have to name this Baby. Let's just call him Baby.
Let's just make it Baby Sinclair. Apparently, he's a megalosaurus. Earl apparently said that in an episode.
Is that the one that's in Jurassic Park 3?
It
I
might
don't
be.
know, but the grandma, I forgot how disturbing
Wouldn't
she
they
looked.
all be the same type of dinosaur?
Well,
They are
not
a
the mom and
family.
dad.
Well, I don't know. There could have been inbreeding. I don't know.
Eh.
We don't all just marry the same person who are raised.
We don't?
Guys, the podcast was going great, and then it turned into a weird eugenics discussion.
I think all
90s percentile.
megalosauruses should stay with their own kind. I highly recommend everyone watch this just
Look at
because
his car.
it's
It's
so
like
goddamn
It
catchy.
looks just like the old play school car.
Yeah. But like a weird dinosaur version.
Guys, this is weird.
Yeah.
This is weird. This is weird.
is
We're just
really
watching this
strange.
insane music
It's
video
really
now.
weird.
This was like a thing back in the 90s where they would do these like song/videos in sitcoms. And I don't know if The Simpsons started that, but they definitely did it twice with Do the Bartman and Deep Deep
I know
Trouble.
SNL did a great parody of it where Mike Myers did Joey Lawrence's "Whoa" video.
Oh, boy, oh,
It's
boy.
just like this drum machine and him just going "Whoa" over the drum machine.
Yeah. Apparently Dinosaurs started out with a laugh track and they eventually dropped it. And that's
Oh,
pretty that's pretty early
That's
on
really
for
interesting.
Yeah,
I think
for,
Sports Night either did that or did the reverse, where the show wasn't doing well, so they
They
added
added
a
a laugh
laugh
I
track.
love Sports Night.
Great
but
show,
We can't
great
get into
show.
that.
mid 90s like most sitcoms had laugh tracks like it
And
really
now it's
wasn't
so
so much
strange
later.
that if you
Murphy
hear
Brown
it,
didn't.
now if I hear a laugh track, I'm like jarring. Like I'm
yeah.
like, the fuck are
I don't
you
really
doing?
watch laugh track shows.
I feel
watch
like,
How
I
Many
feel like
Mother,
Arrested
but
Development took it out back and shot it just as an idea.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother might have been one of the last ones.
How
that,
I Met Your Mother
I watched.
and the Nerds.
The Big Bang Theory
Big
definitely
Bang
Well,
Theory.
carries it,
that's
but
still alive and
That's not a
kicking.
show
But
I
those
watch.
are those aren't shows that anybody's gonna watch in 10 years. I can't imagine. You know.
How I
Yeah.
Met Your Mother they might. I mean,
How I Met Your Mother's got some good
I-
moments. That's probably the last
It's got some
decent
legs.
show that will have a laugh track.
I don't know.
might be right.
I don't know if How I Met Your Mother has legs. I think it might have just really catered to
don't know. I don't
our
think so.
specific,
It really
like to
hit us,
millennials,
yeah.
and it was just like, hey, here's a thing. And by the
Moving
we're
to
going
New
to have
York.
moved on so much by then that the shows are going to be dated a lot faster than usual now.
That's
Because
true.
think about how you used to have a very similar life to your parents, and now you don't even have a similar life to your younger brother
Yeah.
because
Right.
they use Snapchat. I use Facebook.
Well, I'll say this: we got 10 seconds
Jack,
left.
things are just moving too fast.
Why?
We watched, or at least I did, like Nick at Night. You would watch the shows your parents grew up with. Ain't nobody watching Dinosaurs
No.
now,
Which
That's
they
true.
should.
unless it's us
That's true.
rewatching them.
And that sad fact is our show.
And that's it for the end of the show.
Oh, we just ended like dinosaurs.
we just ended. With,
It's snowing outside.
And
we're
it's
gonna
all
kill
over.
all of our listeners at the end
Oh
of this
my
episode.
God.
Four-leggers are being shot on Facebook Live.
Oh man.
Dirk, thank you so much for
Guys,
joining us
loved it.
one more time for another solid episode of 90s Percentile.
Loved it.
We'll Skype you in once you're all
we'll
settled.
bring you back once you've
I'd love to come in for a dynamite drop.
Once
you
you
and
found your way through
yeah,
Old Silvertown.
You and your
Yeah.
roommate James Cameron can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But before we get out of here, before we plug our things, I want to turn to Dirk and I want to say, what did you learn today?
I learned that 90s Percentile, its last episode, is going to be about nuclear winter. That's
right.
It's going to and all of the
That would be the perfect way to
and
end the
all
podcast.
of all of your listeners will just be under the auspice that you guys died.
That's right.
I've been
that it's over.
saving several thousand nuclear weapons. I didn't know why. I just knew one day
We're
I
gonna
would
need
them.
them. Yeah.
Sure.
I think
So-
that's it. I think I'm going to do a podcast nuclear winter.
It's
All right,
a
if we have
it's
to-
it's a shuddering
it
thought.
really,
and,
really is.
but it's true.
Yeah. Jack, what did you learn today?
What did I learn? I learned that the trailer for that movie that I've seen thousands and thousands of times before watching one of my favorite movies is called Big Girls Don't Cry.
Big girls don't cry, they get even.
Which doesn't seem to have anything to do with the idea of a Brady Bunch from hell.
Which is
Yeah,
no,
that's right.
Yeah, it's no. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking
it's,
your juice.
it's too long a title to justify.
Yeah.
To justify
its lack of-
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did you
Well,
learn?
it
Sam?
was not a
Fall Out
hit.
Boy song.
Yeah, right. What did I learn today? I learned that despite the fact that I have never met a Cody in my entire life, I have missed nothing.
Yep, didn't miss
you
anything.
missed some rat tails.
I missed some rat tails, but you know what? I've seen enough of that in my life, so that's fine.
All right, Dirk. So, where can we find you besides Old Silvertown?
Kermit the Dirk on
the old
Instagram
Twitters.
and on the old Twitters. TheShortShow.com. We got new sketches coming out soon. And then I'll be working for High School Nation, which is a music and arts festival that travels the country.
Very cool.
We may be coming to your town.
That's awesome.
If you're in
Going on
high school
tour.
and you're listening to this.
We do have some high school
If you have some high
listeners.
school
so-
listeners,
If
purely
Dirk
through
comes,
nostalgia.
just yell out, old Silvertown.
Old Silvertown, and
not the
we'll be
mama.
coming with pop and rock bands to
Absolutely.
That sounds like a
town
blast.
near you.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna be
awesome,
fun.
dude. Very cool.
You can find me at Jackie No Breaks.
You can find me at Then Dan Says.
And this is usually where I would plug my spelling homework blog or something. I do want to take this opportunity to plug Karate Tortoise, former
Yes.
guest Mike Diaz. He's turned it into a web series, and he's doing a fundraising campaign right now.
Yeah.
So check it out. We're gonna probably put it on our Reddit or our
I
social.
can put a link somewhere.
Yeah. But help support him because he's got a really good thing going, and
Yep.
it's gonna get better. And if you like the weird dinosaur animatronics, or you like Ninja Turtles, and you like that kind of
You would like
aesthetic,
this.
it's definitely for you. And we
Yeah.
want to see it become as big as possible. So
Right. I think he's at the spookedhorse.com,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
So you can check that out and help Mike out. He's a friend of the show. And if you like the show, you want to tell your friends, we would love that. You can follow the show at 90s Percentile, and you can get more episodes as well as everything else that Jack and I do in We Studios at WePodcast.com, rather.
.com.
WEEpodcast.com. Oh. And while you're there, it would help us greatly if you would click our Amazon links, or you don't want to click, you don't want to go to weird websites, just go to amazon.wepodcast.com. That'll take you right to Amazon.
It's getting close to Christmas. Yeah,
It's getting there.
Time to start doing
I have
that
a
Christmas
note
shopping.
on my to-do list.
Buy Christmas presents.
Buy
It
Christmas
really,
presents.
it really is there because I always wait till the last minute,
No,
and
you
I
don't
do
wanna
not
do
want to do that. So please check out wepodcast.com and shop Amazon using our links.
And if you don't want to spend any money, or you don't believe in Christmas, you're one of those.
If you're Ebenezer Scrooge,
Getting back
Your
into the
heart to grow 3 times.
getting back into the anti-Semitic stuff again. Let's
boy.
veer left.
Ebenezer Scrooge was anti-Semitic.
No, if you don't want to spend any money, you can always leave us an iTunes review. That's always great.
Absolutely.
And right now we're going through our international iTunes reviews that
Yeah.
we didn't know existed until very recently. We were reading one last week, and then I took a screenshot and forgot to get the whole thing in there.
Right, and we have continued to forget to get it,
yeah,
so
so
we'll finish that review.
We're pushing the exciting conclusion until next time.
Yes, until
this
next
is the
time.
not without my anus of reviews
That's
that we're
right.
doing. So Dirk, why don't you read us another review that we've got lined up?
The good one?
Yeah, don't read the bad ones.
Because those are hilarious.
Yeah, no, I also have some bad ones open. That's from our Simpsons podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Apparently, the Canadians don't like us.
Well,
Oh, man.
they're
Why-
known for being mean.
It took him 10 episodes to figure it out that he didn't like it?
Don't read the bad
We
ones.
don't need- you can cut all this later.
Jesus Christ.
Fast forward this part.
Okay. I'm sorry. Radical Podcast, 5 stars by this nickname is taken 2112. I grew up during the 90s, so this podcast is great trip down memory lane from the creators of Worst Episode Ever. Big fan of both.
There you go.
Very nice.
So we
So
like
thank
those
you.
good reviews.
Yeah.
And feel free, like this gentleman or lady did, use 90s slang. Make it as dated
Absolutely.
as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and please give us 5 stars or better.
And
radical.
don't be like the Canadians. And what
No,
what
no,
did it say?
no.
It said 10 episodes, and we stunk.
Worst episode ever.
boy.
I don't like it.
That's
Oh, boy.
those are the international
Those are
reviews
the
for our
short show
Simpsons
fans.
podcast.
Yes,
They're
which is
a-holes.
coming back sometime soon. Okay, that's it for this episode of
Yeah,
90s
thank you
Percentile.
so much,
thanks,
Dirk.
thanks
Oh,
again,
man.
Dirk, for being here.
Thanks
we
for having
love,
me, guys. I
love
loved
having
it.
you.
Love being here.
Fly safe.
I will.
Enjoy Old Silvertown. Send us a word.
I will let you know.
Send us a letter in
From
the Pony
from
Express.
from the dusty trail.
Let us
Send,
know.
send us a lump of silver if you can.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode of 90s Percentile. My name is Dan.
My name is Jack, and we'll see you when the world ends.
Ooh.